Hello, everybody from Jerusalem. We're in ground zero, as we say. We are at the Western Wall of Jerusalem. This is our first attempt to bring Jerusalem to you in Project Genesis. And now I'm streaming over the wall here. I'm going to go around and enter the plaza into the wall. So this is the Western Wall Plaza and ground zero, because the temple, the holy temples, both were on top of the wall there. The Western Wall is the supporting wall of what was the Temple Mount that Herod shaved the top, in a sense, and then built a whole big plaza on top. He expanded the area of the temple, and there's a different sections in those in the Western Wall Plaza here. There is the men's section, and then the women's section is behind the mechitza, as we say, the dividing partition. And if you don't have a yarmulke, you can grab a yarmulke from here. There are opportunities here to give charity. As you walk in, you can grab a book, a prayer book, all kinds of prayer books. And essentially, at this point, this area of the Western Wall is an Orthodox synagogue, an open-air Orthodox synagogue. And as you see, we're in the men's section. And it's interesting because I've never seen it this clear. Maybe because it rained a few minutes ago. There are no chairs or desks. Normally, it's all these desks that you can see here and tables on Shabbat. People gather around these tables and they're spread around this plaza, and they do their own service. And all these stands, so people take them and sit right against the wall and pray for anything they wish. The Western Wall used to be called the Wailing Wall for many years, especially since the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD, where Jews were wailing, and they came here to cry for the destruction of the temple. You can see all the little notes that people put, and a couple of times a year they clean it out, and they bury all the notes around the eastern wall in the Mount of Olives, because these are prayers of people, and many times they write the name of God on it, so we can't just discard them, we have to bury them. And people pray here. So it's very interesting that this area that really was the supporting area for the temple became the primary area for the Jewish people to come and gather. On top of Temple Mount right now, there is the Muslim area that's been there for 800 years now, that were conquered from the Christians. And this is the women's section. I'm kind of pointing the camera above this partition. And this bridge that you see is the bridge that goes into the Temple Mount area. And this is the bridge, the Mugrabi Bridge, that non-Muslims can go through. All the other gates that lead into Temple Mount, you have to be a Muslim to go through. To the left of us, there is a little arch here that goes into an indoor synagogue. And this is the beginning of the Western Wall tunnels that were dug underneath, that were excavated. The entrance is really from there, but it goes along the bottom of this wall. The wall goes, it's about I think 500 feet long. So this is just a very small part of the wall. And you go through here. I'm not going to go in because people are praying, but that's the entrance. And now we're going to go back out. And some people don't turn their back to the wall. They go. So I'm going to do the same now. I'm going to walk back this way. Yeah, you want to stay here?
Yeah, just go higher, and we can just get a perspective there. So what you're seeing there is the bottom very large stones are the Herodian stones built there by King Herod, just around the time of Jesus, just before the birth of Christ. And so there's an amazing, I think it's the largest stone that was ever incorporated into a structure is inside the tunnel that goes along the bottom of the wall. And the characteristic framing on the stone, as you see that first layer of stones, you can see that it was, made in a very beautiful way there. So that you can tell then it's a Herodian stone. It comes there, that's original. So that's been there for 2,000 years. And then it goes higher and higher. Some have, I guess it's limestone or whatever. So the wearing on it. And then that next course, I'm not positive, but it could be either Crusader or then the Muslims all the way.
It's a Muslim. Yeah, the two areas are the Muslim and the Mamluk on the top. So the Muslim period is right, and these are also recycled stones because these are stones that fell during the destruction. So they rebuilt it, and they just put them together. The largest stone the Father was talking about is 600 tons. So imagine it's the biggest stone ever incorporated in a structure. It's you do the math.
So just go to the right now, and you'll see the women's section is on the right side. There is that divider there. You see the dark divider, and that's the women's section. And then down further away from where Rabbi Gadi is the egalitarian section. A new section just opened up, so men and women can pray there together.
Yeah. So last 2 Fridays ago, the first Friday I came to Jerusalem, to Israel. I came to Jerusalem because it was called the first day of the month, and the first of the month of Adar, of the month of Purim that we're in now. And every first of the month, there's an organization called the Women of the Wall that come and pray together. And it's been very controversial because they would like to read from the Torah, and because this is an ultra-Orthodox synagogue, they don't allow them to do that, which to me seems ridiculous. Jews, there will be Jews that are denied reading the Torah or praying in any way by the wall. So they enter through this gate, and they try to bring Torah scrolls in, and usually they're denied the Torah scroll. And the argument now in the Israeli government is to allow an egalitarian section or family section, or the way it's called, the Israel section, where everybody can just come in and pray in groups. And it's also used for the non-Orthodox denominations the conservative and the reform denominations to come and pray here. Let's see if I can show it through here, because otherwise I'm going to have to leave and go through the.
Yeah, I don't think you have enough time for that. Let's.
Yeah. But here I can actually, you can see it through the cracks here. That's the section, and it's not as neat and clean and clear as this traditional section, but it is possible to pray there. We had a big service here 2 Fridays ago. It really started pouring now. It really is pouring. I hope my phone will sustain that.
Okay, go to just now stop there and go to the right. Look at the wall.
Okay.
I wanted to show them the corner. I don't know if you can see it now. No, don't go too. No. Oh, that's the women's section?
Yeah, this is the women's section.
Yeah, okay. But go to the right, the corner. Oh, you can't see it now. Okay.
No,
Anyway, you see that tower? There is the minaret there for the mosque that's there. That corner temple, that corner of the Temple Mount, when the Romans destroyed the temple in 70 AD, that top cornerstone fell down, and the tradition is that the devil was going to take Jesus to that spot, because that was the spot where they would the chief priests or the rabbis, whatever, would be blowing the shofar. It would get the people in Jerusalem's attention. So that traditionally is the spot where the devil was trying to take Jesus in the temptations in the desert. And on what they did find when they excavated, they found the stone that indicates that this was the spot where the rabbi, the priests would announce the holidays and offer prayers from that corner. So they left a replica of the stone in place. It's a destruction site. You certainly can see that, but it's an amazing thing that the Hebrew that's written on the stone is legible and understood by modern Hebrew speakers. It's the same words, and now the original now is in the Israeli Museum in Jerusalem.
Yeah, and the mosque that is there, Al-Aqsa, as we mentioned earlier, means Al-Aqsa in Arabic, which is similar to Hebrew. It is the corner, the end corner, Al-Aqsa. So this mosque, Al-Aqsa, symbolizes the place that, according to the Muslim tradition, Muhammad went up to heaven from there. So this is a call for worship. In a sense, it became the cornerstone for a call for worship for all Abrahamic faith. So that's why this is the ground zero for really all the Abrahamic faith. And now we're going to start going up from the Western Wall back into the Jewish quarter, and go up the ramp here into it's called the Western Wall Heritage Center. And I see my group standing there, hiding from the rain.
You'll be out of breath going up the stairs. Of course, it's quite an elevation. You're going to go up probably a good 100 steps to get back up into the Jewish quarter there. So it's a little bit of a hike to go up all these stairs, but it's a pleasant place. So Louise, I'm
going to show you the map of. This is the map of the old city of Jerusalem. This is the wall, and as you see on the bottom right, that's the Temple Mount area. So where the Golden Dome is right now, it says Golden Dome. That was the area of the Holy of Holies. in the Holy Temple, the Jewish temple. And of course, the tradition says that Abraham came to bind Isaac, or originally to sacrifice Isaac, right there on a stone that is considered the foundational stone. In Hebrew, it's Even Hashtiyah, the foundational stone. So according to the tradition, the world was created through that stone, like a belly button of the world. So when we talk about ground zero here, of course, kind of everything channels into the spot of basically a square mile area that is now kind of the holy of holies of the Abrahamic faith. So
Okay,
now
let
you see
me
the quarters. If you want to explain about
let
the
me
quarters.
jump in there. Okay, so you
Mhm.
see the wall is from the 1500s. It goes all the way around the old city, that black line. So the whole old city is enclosed. Now Jerusalem has expanded greatly. So over 1 million people now. But that area that we're seeing is probably about 100 acres, 110 acres. Not very big, but that is old Jerusalem. And to the south, it is positioned north, south, east, west. So when you're at the western wall on the Temple Mount, you can see you're toward the west of that Temple Mount area. Now you can see the Jewish quarter, and then to the left is the Armenian quarter, and then there's what we call the Christian quarter, and then the Muslim quarter. So actually, two sections are Christian. The Armenians, we're going to go walk through there in a minute. We'll walk through the Armenian quarter a little bit later, and we'll see the Armenians were the first country to become Christian. The king of Armenia, I don't know his name, ended up converting to Christianity and then going over to buy real estate, and that's how the Armenians got there first as a nation to buy the land. So they have that quarter, and the other quarter is Christian. Now keep ascending here, going up to the Jewish
Right,
quarter.
but remember, spiritually, we are descending.
We are descending, right, away from the temple.
So we are now in the Jewish quarter. We're climbing up the stairs, and right up the stairs here is the Kotel Yeshiva. The word for Western Wall in Hebrew is kotel, which means a wall. But the Kotel, the wall, is always referred to the Western Wall. So we keep climbing up, and I actually studied in this yeshiva for 6 months. In 2005, I came here, I took a sabbatical, and I was contemplating if I should stay in business or continue my Jewish education. And that's what I did. And interestingly enough, shortly after I came back from my sabbatical, went back to work. But shortly after that, I met Father Roy, and we started the journey of Project Genesis, through which I quit my job. I went to rabbinical school, and now I've been the rabbi of Congregation Tiferet Israel for the past 10 years. So it all happened here.
So just look at that church there for a second. Go to the right. And this is a Crusader Church that was built in the Jewish quarter at the time where it is now. But so it's a church left over. They just dug it up and kind of leave it intact as a historical marker there. So.
Okay. It's getting crowded.
You look like you're a salmon going upstream here now.
Yeah, not my first experience doing that in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
If there's time,
So in Israel, everyone must serve in the army, men and women. Women will do 2 years in the army, and then the men will do 3. and then maybe a fourth.
Yeah, so this is the Heichal wall. That's the entrance to the Kotel Yeshiva, where I studied. And right here below, it's the Holy Temple Visitor Center. It's called the Temple Institute. And what they do, they create the vessels for the temple in order to be prepared if and when the temple will be established again as a Jewish temple, or a temple that actually all nations can pray in. And I believe in that, especially now that all the Abrahamic faith believe more or less in the same way and one God. So it says here, the quote from Isaiah 56, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations. So hopefully,
now that picture there is the go back there, Gotti. Go back to the Ark of the Covenant. They have everything in there prepared except the Ark of the Covenant. All the vessels, all the priestly vestments, all is inside there. You can view them and see everything is prepared. But of course, there's no temple and there's no place to use those items yet. But what we'll see, who knows what will happen. And where is the menorah? Is that nearby there?
So we're getting there. We're approaching it.
Yeah.
And so actually the second temple, when it was established in 586 BCE, already didn't have, the first temple was destroyed. Then it was built 70 years later, the second temple. And already in the second temple, they did not have the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant has been lost since the destruction of the first temple, or hidden. So what we say is that in the second temple era, there hasn't been a real prophecy, because the real prophecy comes from, as we read in the construction of the first tabernacle in the temple in the book of Exodus, that God said he will speak to us from between the two cherubs on top of the Ark of the Covenant, those two angels that had children-like form. God will speak to us through that. And really the midrash, the understanding, the deeper understanding of it is that God speaks to us when we speak to each other. When we face each other, like the two cherubs in the temple, they face each other and they look at each other and they see each other, then God will speaks to us from between the two communities. This is actually the unit, the rescue unit of the Fifth Command that was established during the Gulf War when I joined the Army, and I was the first cohort that started this unit. Now it's one of the biggest units in the Israeli Army. So here we are in this square, and there are two very important things in this square. This is the middle of the Jewish quarter, the heart of the Jewish quarter, and there's cafes here, and very nice actually. This is where I used to sit in the evening, coming out of that street over there. And two very important things. So first of all is the menorah. Is a replica that was created by the Temple Institute. And the menorah, people don't always understand, is really the most significant and the most distinct Jewish symbol. People tend to think that it is the Star of David, but really the Star of David could have come from other traditions and not really uniquely Jewish, but the menorah is absolutely uniquely Jewish And that's why the emblem of the state of Israel today is the menorah, surrounded by two olive branches. So here we are. The menorah is, as I like to say, is the continuation of the heavenly rainbow. It has 7 candle holder. It's supposed to be one structure. It's not combined. It's really one piece of gold that is mounted together, and this is the symbol of the oral tradition, the oral light. We gave a whole presentation about the temple as the container of light, because how can you contain God on earth? God always appears as light, as fire, and the derivative of that. And to capture God on earth, to bring heaven to earth, is really to create a container of light. So the Torah, which was contained in the Ark of the Covenant, the tablets that were brought from Mount Sinai, are also called the Torah, which is light. Essentially, the word Torah has the word light in it. And then outside the Holy of Holies, the menorah stood with the other vessel. But what it means is that you take the Torah from the Ark, from the engraved tablets from Sinai, but you bring it to everyday life. You bring it to the light, and the high priest, its main job in the task in the temple was to light the candles. And it's very interesting because it says God commands the high priest to elevate the light, to elevate the candle. And normally people say that it seems like a very easy job. But if you really understand that the candles are really an example for people, then you understand that the high priest has to inspire people to keep their own flame and not be extinguished. And that really is a very hard job, as you know, for every clergy and every person that deals with the community. So that's the menorah. Father Roy, do you want to say anything?
I just wanted to...
And also maybe Don?
Well, first off, there were 3 main furnishings in the Holy of Holies. One was the Ark of the Covenant, and to the left would be the menorah that we see here. And then on the right side of the room would be the showbread, and there were 12 loaves of bread in the temple, marking the 12 tribes of Israel. And Christians can see the Trinity represented, prefigured in a sense. The Father being with the Ark of the Covenant, the Son with the showbread, with the bread of life, and then the light of the Holy Spirit reflected in the menorah. So now we're gonna, Don, do you have anything you want to say?
You're the expert on the geography and meaning, but I have a question. Which groups in Israel want to reestablish a third temple?
Well, figuratively, everybody, but practically, there are some groups that tend to be, more ultra-Orthodox, and I would say pretty much all the Orthodox communities. I would say even the conservative movement. There are many people who still believe in that. Israel coming back, and this is a very good segue to what I want to show you. This synagogue, and I'll explain and answer Don through that. This synagogue is a very important synagogue. It's called the Chorva synagogue, which means ruins. And it used to stand here at the 17th century. and it looked like this. There's a drawing of it, how it used to look like. And interesting, it has the Shamrock there on it. And what happened was that there were two big synagogues in the Jewish quarter here, and it was they were blown up by the Jordanians in the 1948 war when they took over this area. Israel then reclaimed it in 1967 during the Six-Day War, and then rebuilt the synagogue. It's interesting that when I lived here in 2005, they were just building the synagogue. And so now it's back up, of course, as close as possible to the original. And the Jordanians also put the minaret here. Every time they destroyed a Jewish synagogue, of course, they put their minaret. So now the minaret is here and the synagogue is here. But the word for ruin, it's hachorva, is really an example of how we see Israel in general, how when the Jewish people returned to Zion, returned to Jerusalem, to Israel, and reestablished the third commonwealth, in a sense, the community, and rebuilt it. A few years ago, the Jewish population in the world now, most of it lives in Israel. So that's also one indication for messianic times or redemption times. And just as this synagogue was reestablished, the temple can be reestablished as well. In a few years ago, when we had our kind of peace proposal, we looked at the Western Wall as maybe an opportunity or an option to consider that as the third temple. There's no doubt that we want to establish a place of prayer for all nations and the Jewish people. There's no doubt about that. But the question is where, because the Muslims are now on Temple Mount, and if we will, want to either replace them there or maybe join there, it creates a lot of political tension, of course, and religious tension. We wish that one day we could all share that place. So when we talk about who wants to reestablish the temple, most people do, but maybe not more maybe liberal denominations, but most Jews think of it as definitely as an option. And when we prayed for 2,000 years in the diaspora, it was for that, to reestablish the temple. But you always have to, of course, be mindful of the situation on the ground. So we really can't really do it now, or can't really do it in the same way. But we'll see what happens. But the way I'm looking at it too, the temple used to be a place of animal sacrifice. I personally, as a vegetarian, wouldn't really want to see that. And one of the opinions, and it is the opinion of Maimonides, which was one of the pillars of Jewish thought, also said that it doesn't have to be anymore a place of animal sacrifice. It could be that just as the temple was replaced by prayer, when the temple was destroyed, and we had to replace the animal sacrifices with prayer, we don't have to reestablish that. We can just be praying. There's a verse in Proverbs.
Okay, hold
says,
on. The Cardo is there, so.
Yeah, the Cardo is right here. But yeah, so it has many variations and options But right now, I think the most important thing is to be in peace and to figure out how to get along before we even go further. Right there at the Western Wall, we first have to figure out how to get along, and for example, to reestablish or to establish the Israel section, the egalitarian section, how we get along with Christians and Muslims in the old city and in general. So there's a lot of work to do before we go up the wall, as we speak, as we say, climb the wall, force ourselves in, and hopefully, when the Messiah comes or returns, we'll have these answers. But the aspirations are always really there in different ways. So this is the Cardo. You want to take it over?
Yeah. Well, okay. Now, just to go through a little bit of the history, it was the Roman occupation happened at the time of 63 BC, and the Romans are there, of course, at the time of Jesus. The crucifixion happens at 30 AD, and in 70 AD, 40 years after the time of Jesus, the Jerusalem is destroyed. So it laid pretty much in waste until around 130, when the Romans came back, renaming the city, not Jerusalem, but Alia Capitolina. And that's the Cardo was the main thoroughfare that had all the shops and, the main market area. So those stones are, again, from the Roman period there. So he's meeting some
We
folks.
have, yes, Joe, where's Toby?
She's
here?
babysitting.
No? Oh, okay.
I've been chasing you around.
Can you hear Joel?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
I'll turn this
Joel
on.
Young and Toby, his wife, came to visit their daughter who lives in Jerusalem. They belong to Adat Shalom congregation in Ottawa, Canada.
And we had Gadi for 3 years or
2 years.
As
I
our rabbi when he was a student, and we loved him. We love him. So when I heard he was coming, I tried to connect. But you know, we
this is
Anyways,
good. This is Rain is
okay,
playing.
I found you.
Yeah, so you can't hear them because I'm on my headset,
Okay, if I come here, I can hear
it's all right. Yeah, if you go on Zoom, you'll see us.
Okay.
So this is the Cardo, the main street. We'll go. These were shops, those pillars, and inside those little nooks were different shops. I'm sure these were. This was like the Fifth Avenue of the Roman.
You're gonna go down and show
Yeah, we can go down for a minute.
No, let's go. We have to go.
No, we'll go up.
Late.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
it's
to
getting
keep
late.
going.
So we'll go up through. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna go up through this street to James Street that
St.
goes
James.
now St. James Street to go through the Armenian Quarter to Jaffa Gate. Let me just something.
Now, one thing to notice, there is a law in Jerusalem that every thing that's built there has to be built of what they call Jerusalem stone. It's a certain shade of that stone, beigey kind of white stone, and so everything is kind of uniform. So even though it's brand new, it still needs to use that same color stone to keep kind of a coherency to the whole city. That's quite nice. A lot of these are all new stones there that they're certainly not ancient. Those have been there now for 40, 50 years, I guess. And but a lot of the old stones do match, and so you can see as you go from even in all the different quarters of Jerusalem, will have the same kind of stone being used. What is happening now with the Armenian quarter and some parts of the Christian quarter? The real estate is very, of course, dear, very expensive in Jerusalem there. So there are some people, some Armenians and then other Christians in the Greek Orthodox Church there selling some of the properties to Jewish families, and so there's an expansion now of the Jewish quarter into the Christian quarter and the Armenian quarter. So the Armenians are, like I said before, they've been there since the 300s, the first nation to accept Christianity, and the king of Armenia had the people go to Jerusalem and purchase the land. So that's how they acquired almost a quarter of the city. It's probably the smallest section, but the Armenians are there. The people are there, but it's a smaller community now. It certainly had its other times when it had more population. There's a beautiful monastery, and there's a monastery school there, and the kids, the guys come in and sing a lot of the liturgies at the Holy Sepulchre. So we're heading toward the Holy Sepulchre, going through this Armenian quarter, and the cathedral is there as well, St. James Cathedral, and in it is there's a shrine.
This is St. James.
Yeah, there's a shrine.
St. James Street.
St. James Street. So St. James was beheaded, and they do have his relic there. And so it goes back to this community, first century community.
So my notion was that the way that the Armenian or vice versa, Saint Helen, Constantine's mother, was Armenian.
So this particular street now is open to cars. There's one way to get into the Armenian section. There's one way through here, and to the right.
So
Scotty can hear me.
Yes. So can you hear me now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I was saying is that when I was in Armenia,
this is the cathedral. Sorry, is that the?
When I was in Armenia, I learned that Saint Helen, Constantine's mother, was Armenian, and it probably when Armenia became a Christian country, she might have influenced her son Constantine with Christianity, and maybe that's how it worked. I don't know. I haven't read it anywhere, but I think it's kind of the missing link of how Constantine got to become a Christian, and then established Christianity as the one of the religions of the Roman Empire.
Behind those walls there is actually there's a little Armenian cemetery in there. So somehow that got put there in other times. There's just little alleyways, and that's not the cathedral.
Theological,
Armenian
theological.
Yeah, that's the seminary, and then there's the monastery school is there. I've been in there.
And you see a cat here. The cats in Jerusalem are like little lions. They're like the lions of Jerusalem, the convent. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing when you're in Jerusalem, you certainly have to watch where you're walking. Unlike New York, where things are relatively flat. You have all kinds of impediments everywhere, and so you do have to watch where you're walking, and it gets a little tight in some of these places. A lot of times in the old city, the alleys, it's almost like an alley. They're even more narrow, and they have these little tractors that go through to make deliveries and then take out the garbage, and you're constantly kind of watching your way with those folks. So there's a couple of nice shops right there. There you go, Gotti. Look at this shop. I love this little shop. It's Armenian, beautiful ceramics that the Armenians make, very traditional. And I bought stuff there for the shrine in the past to just bring it to the gift shop there. A beautiful little shop. And they make, it's nice too, they make Jewish items and Christian items. They, of course, sell it to whoever wants it. And up on the right now is a really cool Armenian restaurant, and a really cool place. I love going there. I think some of the pilgrims have been on this have been in this restaurant. It's coming up here.
Armenian Tavern.
Yeah, the Armenian Tavern. There it is. Yeah,
It's closed anyway right now.
Okay. We'll come back another time.
We'll get an Armenian sandwich later.
Yeah. Good falafel.
Yeah.
So now we're coming into what's known as Jaffa Gate. It's one of the, I think there's 7 gates or 8 gates into Jerusalem. I should know that, but
seven open gates.
7 open.
And the gate of mercy is the 8th gate, and it's closed right now.
Yeah, and this was opened up. Yeah, this is the Citadel of David. It's a real mishmash of everybody built something there since the last 3,000 years. So it's a whole big complex there. They do shows and concerts, and there's a museum in there. So that's all, it's been there forever at different eras. People built different things there. So I don't know all the history, but it's a mishmash of everybody. But it certainly was not in the time of David. The city of David, they're excavating now to the south part of the city, and only been rediscovered now really in the last 10 years. So this, the Citadel of David was thought to be, where his castle was, but most folks figured that out a long time ago that it's not. And this is the Christian Christ Church guest house. There's a center there for Christian pilgrims to go find places and lodging, and all kinds of little assistance for the traveler. And then there is an Episcopal church there that on Saturday mornings they have a Hebrew and English service, and it's an amazing. It's in Hebrew, and so there are Jews who understand Jesus now, accept Christ. There are Muslims there, and then there are Christians, and the service is in Hebrew, so it's really interesting, and English, a little bit of English. And it's interesting to be together and praying in Hebrew inside the walls of Jerusalem, having Christian worship. It's more of the charismatic style. And so there's the Tower of David. So now we're going to go into, I love this place. This is really the crossroads for Jerusalem. It's an open gate. The traffic is able to come in. They opened it up for King, one of the German kings, Kaiser Wilhelm. Kaiser Wilhelm opened it up. And so when he came to visit Jerusalem, they opened it up. And it's a big entrance. So it's a big plaza now. And all 3 communities really pile through there. So I call this my office. And when I go to Jerusalem, I sit and have a beer and just watch the world go by. So all the Jews come piling in, all the Muslims come piling in, all the Christian groups come piling in. And it's just a little taste of what it could be like. And, when everything is working well, and a little taste of the kingdom. So you can see the wall broken there, and it's all just wide open. So that's the most open gate in the entire city. Everything else is a little bit smaller. To the right there, you'll see a little, that was the old footpath to come through, and you go through a little bit of a turn. They strategically build it that way so the horses wouldn't be able to rush right into the city. So you have to make go through a little L shape to kind of go through that area, and that gate would have been closed in olden days, but now it's open right there. So that they took the wall out and let traffic come in. Now there's those little benches on the right. There's my office. I haven't been there in 2 years. There's just little benches.
Something we took.
Go ahead.
There's a ramparts walk. For 10 shekels for a senior, where you go up here and you walk all around the wall on the north side.
So he's saying that you can go on the rampart walk. You go up on the top of the wall and you can circle the city, one half one way and one half the other way. And so it's a cool looking,
right up there.
Cool looking area up there. And you can
So
see
what I'll do is I'll go out of, this is the open area, the open gate. And theologically, this is an interesting thing also, because the walls of Jerusalem were open to the world, and it was around the same time when Zionism was also starting to build up in Europe and in the world, not just in Europe. And Jews have been starting to come to what was Palestine, and so this is the open area right outside the old walls, and then we're going to go through the pedestrian entrance to go back in, and then go into the Arab market to on our way to the Holy Sepulchre.
Now turn around, and look at the little neighborhood out there. This neighborhood, you can't really see distinctly, but it's more to the left, is only in the 1930s did the Jews expanded to a neighborhood outside the walls of the city. Everything you see outside here now is all since the 1930s. So Jerusalem has expanded hugely. It was always just inside the wall, but once you got outside the wall, there was not much out there. And in the 1930s, they built this neighborhood and encouraging people to move into the neighborhood, but because of security and all the rest, they just felt, insecure. So, but that's like one of the most expensive neighborhoods now to live in. It's a beautiful area there. This is a big tunnel. We're on top of the tunnel now. Maybe you should start heading back, not too far.
Yeah, and this is the King David Hotel, which is usually the place where head of states come and stay when they come to Israel. Very secure and luxurious, of course. So this is
a big mall right there, shopping mall that's been built. It's very pretty, a very upscale, beautiful area. And so all outside the city now, this area is more of a Jewish area in the western part of Jerusalem. And East Jerusalem is more of the Muslim area outside the walls. So let's go back inside through, because we do have, time is moving on. We still have a little ways to go to get to the Holy Sepulchre, and then we'll finish up by within the hour here.
Yeah.
One of the questions.
So my sisters are
going
to stay here, and we're going to go. Joel and I are going to go in.
Gotti?
Yeah.
One of the questions just came up in the chat. Where is this in relation to the Damascus Gate?
Okay, we're
so the Damascus Gate. This is the Jaffa Gate, because this is the street that came from Jaffa, from the Mediterranean. That's where the direction is. This is going west, and they would bring all the goods, in the ships, and then unload them in Jaffa, and then bring them all the way to Jerusalem on top of donkeys or mules. And then, so it's the Damascus Gate is where you see the end of that wall to the right, because it's starting to head east to the Muslim quarter and the Muslim area, East Jerusalem.
Right, the Damascus Gate is pretty much on the like if
north.
Jerusalem's like a circle, and it would be like at the 12 o'clock position. Right now we're at kind of the 9 o'clock position.
Yeah, so now we're entering the pedestrian way to enter the Jaffa Gate, and right directly in front of it we'll enter the Arab market, that famous market with all the colors and smells and tastes.
Now, when you say Arab, doesn't mean necessarily Muslim. That's what a lot of folks will get a little confused with, that the Arab culture is Muslim and Christian. So the Arabs, you need to specify when you just say Arab market, it's Christian and Muslim, so together.
Yeah.
So these are all little shops here, going past my little office again. And so all the stores selling all the olive wood and the scarves and silks and carpets, little carpets. And to the left here, this is really the Christian quarter now. All these shops are, there's my little place to go get my, my beer. Nice can of beer there. And all these little side alleys go up into the Christian quarter where the Catholic cathedral is inside there. And then this is the Greek Catholic Patriarchate. They are the Melkite Catholics.
Going into that alley.
Yeah, they have their church in there. No, we don't go that alley. Go all the way to the, keep going straight. Yeah. And we'll get to the Holy Sepulchre.
Here, Mark, is going to the Holy Sepulchre. So this is the entrance to the market. I really love this place. It's very colorful. I love the ceramic work. That a lot of it comes from either Hebron or Jericho.
All right, I'm going to tune out for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay, so I came here as a kid. So my whole life I've been walking these streets. It's very beautiful, colorful. You can buy yarmulkes and crosses and Muslim artifacts. They're all kind of bundled together here. This is nice coexistence actually in the market. So this is called the David Street. And you see the bottom here has these ramps. It's stairs, but ramps also, so they can move the carts with all the products here. So you can buy incense for the church. You can buy wine cups for the kiddush.
I was just laughing when I see all the shopping areas. They don't shop the way we do. They don't let you out of the place unless they keep lowering the price. You can't just check a price and go someplace else.
That's for sure. Now, if you ever come to Jerusalem with us, they will give you a price, and you can go to at least half of that. And so if they say $10, you can say, well, I'll give you $5, and you start from there. And so everything is negotiable for sure. They have a price on, except in the higher end shops, they're not going to negotiate like that too much. But everything is kind of haggling, and you work it through, and how much if I buy 3, and all that kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun.
I'd ask one question. You were at the wall in the very beginning. There was that staircase out of wood going up.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand. I didn't saw that before. Is that new or?
Yeah, that was built, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or something like that. It was that's where the non-Muslims can enter the Temple Mount, so that so Christians and Jews can go up to the Temple Mount, but that's the normal way they would access the Temple Mount. So you go up there, and it's a big plaza, big flat open area with the 2 mosques, the Golden Dome, the Dome of the Rock, and then the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Now, when I was there way back, we used to be able to enter those places, but now only Muslims can. And so you can't go into
only Muslims can go that staircase, or non-Muslims?
No, that Muslims can go there on that staircase too, but Christians and Jews enter through that gateway, that little bridge.
Thank you.
And it's only for certain times of the day. I think it was something like 10 o'clock to 12 that, other folks, non-Muslims, can go up there. And so we did schedule it now that we can get there on our Project Genesis trip. We are able to, we scheduled time to go up to the Temple Mount. And so you can go up there. They are very strict about prayer. Christians and Jews cannot pray there to do any kind of prayer service. So we can just kind of walk around and observe, and what you're praying in your own mind and heart, they can't tell. But I couldn't stop the group and start praying the rosary or something. I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, you're back. Okay, so here we are now. This is the plaza in front of the Holy Sepulchre. So this, the the Holy Sepulchre was, what you're seeing right now is a Crusader church built in the 1200s. Many people don't know that in 1009, the church of Constantine was destroyed by the Sultan who was in charge of Jerusalem, causing perhaps, of course, you know, the crusade to try to, you know, save some of these sites, the Christian sites that were destroyed. So it's a smaller church from what Constantine built. St. Helen went there, of course. Now I understand the Armenian connection, and she got the land there. Of course, her son's the emperor, so they were able to get the land and take off the temple that the Romans had built in the 130s, and now we're in the 330s. And so they took off the temple to, I think it was Jupiter, and they took off the temple and then found all this underneath, you know, the Calvary and the tomb, and were able to build a big church all around it. Now with the encroachment, you can hardly see much of the church, but this is again built in the 1200s now. This is the Crusader Church. So to the right, in that very corner, that's the door that goes up to the Ethiopian monastery. And then the Syrians have a church on the left side, the Syrian Orthodox, right up in that where the curtains are in that window. That used to be the way to go up to Calvary, but that's been closed for a long time. And then the very
Let me explain about this ladder here.
famous ladder, yeah.
There's a ladder here. This is not Jacob's ladder, but this is a ladder that has been there for many, many years, because nobody can remove the ladder from here, because everything is so delicate here politically and religiously that there's a status quo around all the different denominations, Christian denominations that use the space. And in general, in the old city of Jerusalem, you can't move a stone without disturbing the world.
Can you zero in on it?
Yeah, so this ladder is actually a symbol of the status quo, because they can't even remove the ladder from here.
So there was a big conflict in the late 1800s, and that's when they were doing the work. Hold on, guy, before you go in. And so the ladder was there the day they declared the status quo. There's 5 groups of Christians that have rights to pray inside the Holy Sepulchre, and there's a schedule, and you cannot error 1 minute, because the 5 groups all have their time. So that would be the Roman Catholics, the Greek Orthodox, the Armenians, the Syrians, and the Coptics. So they all have their time, the Greek Orthodox. And so it's on a schedule, a very tight schedule. It will close now at 6 p.m. the winter time. Once it gets to Easter, then the church will stay open a little bit later. So that's why we had to kind of get there as soon as we could now, just to get inside.
Yeah, and
there's a mosque right there.
This is another minaret, right? The minaret of the mosque. So even when the Christians got hold back of the site, they still have a Muslim family that is in charge of the church, that opens it and closes it every day. And they'll close it at 6 o'clock. We'll see the ceremony closing it. We'll close our presentation with the closing of those doors. So we now are entering the Holy Sepulchre. You want to take it from here?
Yeah, so now we're right in front, right there is the anointing stone. We'll see that in a minute, but I just want to go up to Calvary now. So as soon as you come in the door, actually, I've never seen it quite so empty. So go to the right, not that way, immediately to the right, turn to the right. I don't know if you can hear me now. Oh boy, maybe we won't be able to get in there with the video. Hello, are you hearing me? So a lot of people will venerate that stone is after the body of Christ was taken down from the cross. Tradition has it that this is the place where he was anointed for the burial. So they call this the anointing stone. And especially the Orthodox love to pour oil on that. It smells all the time, beautiful oil. And so they pour the oil on it and then wipe it up with a cloth. And then they go home and cut up the cloth and give it to people as a, you know, as a sacramental, I guess, for sure. And they would use that oil then, you know, for healing and prayer, healing prayers over their friends and family. Maybe we're going to have a trouble getting in there now with the video. I don't know if we'll be able to reconnect. Maybe up at the Calvary. Well, I guess he would know that we're not seeing anything now. So, well, that's unfortunate. That's the Holy Sepulchre. Oh,
Roy, why don't you give a rundown of the things that might be inside if we can't get to them?
Yeah, we can keep going on here. So, when you first enter that door that we just came through, there's a really odd staircase, but it goes up to the Calvary, to the top of the Calvary mountain, the little hill. It's certainly not a mountain, and the hill. And this is the site of the crucifixion. And so we have a Catholic altar that's to the right of the Calvary itself. The Calvary altar is Greek Orthodox, so we're not allowed to do a mass there. Only the Greeks can do a mass there. Our altar is immediately to the right, about 20 feet, and this is what the people will pray there. We'll say it's the kind of the 11th station, the nailing of Jesus on the cross there, the crucifixion. So we have that spot. So real estate is of a premium for sure in the Holy Land, and then of course in the Holy Sepulchre. So the different denominations do have their own particular altars, but we can venerate at the Calvary. We can go there, but I couldn't go in my vestments. I could go to go to pray as in my clerics. So you go, and you're always on a line. Hopefully we'll be able to get up there and see. Okay, so this is the up staircase to go up to Calvary. Now there's a big crowd. They've imagined all the stairs are worn, so you really have to watch your footing. They're all just thousands of millions of people have been in this spot, of course, trying to go up and visit this Calvary scene. One of the biggest groups that you'll see in the Holy Land are the Russians. There's been a real resurgence of Christianity in Russia. And so everywhere in the Holy Land, the biggest single group that you'll see are Russians, followed by all kinds of other groups, other Christian groups. Americans, of course, too, but Italians and Filipinos and Indians and Africans, different Nigeria and all. So these steps here are a little treacherous and very steep to climb up there. Okay, that's the altar for the Catholics, right straight ahead. I've offered the mass there many times. You come around. That's the Catholic one there. There's a little statue of Our Lady there, Our Lady of Sorrows, the 7 Sorrows of Mary. Another altar, small altar. And there's Calvary. This is the site of the crucifixion. You can see the 2 figures of Mary and St. John the Evangelist, and the crucifix right there. It's kind of hard to make out because it's with the lighting and everything. They put all these oil lanterns in front of it to keep them all burning in this spot here. And right there is the Greek altar that you're seeing now. And then underneath, people will venerate and go down underneath the altar. And if you put your hand in, there's a little hole made there with an icon of Jesus. And people go down there to venerate and take their rosaries or holy articles and to touch the actual stone of Calvary. There's you can see a little hole in that, looks like a golden dish there. And then to the right there, that's actually the natural stone. There's always a Greek priest or a monk sitting there. There's the stone. That's the natural stone of Calvary. They have it just encased in glass so that you can, people wouldn't take a piece of it home, they would chip on it or whatever. So, so that's the natural stone that's been there. And over right there, I think that would be St. John there, and the Blessed Mother is on the left side, I think. And yeah, that's John. The beautiful silver and gold icons all around it. This is a Greek altar next to the Calvary. There's our friend. They always have somebody there. He sells candles, and he has the groups go through to keep moving. A lot of times there's just thousands of people waiting to get there. And right now, I guess with COVID and everything, it looks like it's pretty empty. So that's kind of good to do some filming. So you walk along here now, and then you can look into the big Greek cathedral is down inside, down below this area. Now we're up high, we're maybe about 30 feet above the ground here. It's not huge. Mount Calvary is, was just a little bit of a hill in a quarry at the time of Jesus, just outside the walls of Jerusalem. So he was crucified outside the gate and very near to the city. Now at this point, the city walls have changed so that the city wall is now out, that the Holy Sepulchre is inside the old city. It wouldn't have been that in Jesus' time there.
It's outside.
Beautiful icons and paintings on the ceiling. And this is a staircase now going back down to the ground level. And you can see this. Wow, it's funny to see like nobody's there. Wow, usually there's lots and lots of folks. But it's good for the filming for sure to be able to do this. So the Lord's body would have been taken down from Calvary and then put on to the anointing stone. Gotti, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so take a look at the anointing stone. It is a beautiful spot to pray. People place, their religious articles on there. People bow down and offer a prayer. My custom is every time I enter the old city, I would certainly make a stop at the Holy Sepulchre, even if I was there the day before. So I've been there maybe, I don't know, 100 times at least now over the years, all the pilgrimages. And I did the 3-month sabbatical there. So I had a lot of time to go up to the Holy Sepulchre and pray right there at that stone. Now behind you, Gotti, is a beautiful icon, mosaic of the whole scene. If you can take a look at, it looks like they're cleaning it or whatever. Okay, so it tells the whole story. This is the burial right there. But if you go to the right, you'll see kind of goes from left to right. If you can move the camera. Go to the right. All right, so we're looking at it kind of, it's 3 scenes. Here's the, the anointing there. You can see Our Lady figured there, holding the head of Jesus and taking him down from the cross. So it's a beautiful big
the anointing.
Yeah, so this was put there relatively recently. I don't know what year, but within I don't know, 100 years or so. Yeah, so that's the scene with the anointing stone, and then into the tomb there. So now this spot here is a beautiful canopy.
So this washing of the body is a Jewish. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
is a Jewish ritual to prepare
I'm part of the committee that does this in Ottawa.
Wow.
Everyone is washed the same way.
Yeah.
In silence and reverence. I've washed with rags, hot water, a little soap, and then cold water, and then everyone is dressed the same way. And we'll dried first, and then dressed the same way, and put in a coffin, just like Jesus. wash. We call it tahara, purification.
Yeah, purification.
Dressed in white.
So this
We
is
still-
go to the left first, go to the left, go to that little canopy thing. No, turn around, Gotti, turn around,
Oh, turn around.
turn around. And this canopy, there you go, the canopy. This little spot we were standing when my second trip, pilgrimage, we were there for Easter Vigil for the Orthodox, and John and Dolores Emil and Jamie and Gotti and myself were kind of right here. And we asked what was this spot? Why is it signified? And it turns this commemorates the spot where Our Lady stood during the crucifixion. So it's a revered spot for people to offer candles and prayers. And it's part of the Armenian section. Back in there is the Greek sacristy and the Armenian sacristy, where they keep a lot of their things that they need for for mass and prayers. Now we're coming.
This
Go
is
ahead.
from that angle.
Right. So up to the Calvary. No, turn to the Calvary now. Go, you'll see what, yeah, in that direction is the Calvary. So she would have been standing in this position there. And then,
What happened
so now to the left,
So the crucifixion is Calvary.
this?
This is the tomb that he was buried in.
now this is a small church. Now it's a freestanding, kind of like a little tiny church that marks the site of the grave of Jesus, the tomb of Jesus. And during the destruction in 1009, all of that was removed. Unfortunately, it was all, natural cave kind of a thing. And so it was destroyed in 1009. And this has been built maybe in, I don't know, 1500s or so. They just renovated it. Now people are lining up here to go into the tomb and to venerate the tomb of the
Do you want me to
spot.
stand online here?
No, I don't think so. We're not going to have time.
No?
So,
Okay, so I'll just,
yeah, I don't know.
Show
that
it
those- No, go,
the
keep, no,
outside.
no, go, turn around and go to, I love this little spot. People wait online all the time to go into the tomb, but you turn right here to the little chapel, left. No. All right. There you go.
This is the
little
back.
spot. This is the back of the tomb. This
nobody
is
here,
the-
it's vacant.
I know, it's always, this is my favorite place to pray. Inside here, this is the back door to the tomb. And the Coptic Christians, the Egyptian Christians have their spot there, the Coptic Christians. And down underneath that altar, you can actually touch the stone, the natural stone that is in the tomb. So this is like the back door to the tomb, and it's always, nobody knows what it is and nobody goes there to pray, but I wish, I always like to point it out, and you can get candles there. You buy your candles and you light them. He'll light them for you, and then you bring them home to give out to your friends and family, with, receiving the light of the tomb. So down underneath there is actually the spot of natural stone. You can venerate the stone, just the beautiful little spot. And a lot of people don't even know that it's there, but it's really quite nice to go in there. Usually one of the monks is sitting there, and Coptic Orthodox, yeah. And there's the stone. You can see it there. It was underneath the okay. Anyway.
Is that the one with the cross on it?
Yeah, it was further back was the natural stone. That's a piece of marble, just indicating what's there. And these are all icons. The whole thing is filled with icons. Now, if you want to go inside that little place you were going to go, yeah, this is another. This is a Syrian Orthodox chapel, and
There's a service going on there.
it's interesting that the Israelis. This used to be just all kind of dirt and stone, and people were tripping. So the Israelis made them, and because it's Israel and they made them, put a nice marble floor in there. So that's all now finished, which is nice, but the walls still are very crude. There's been a fire in there. They're not allowed to change the altar. And then that's the tomb, Gotti, right there, go down. Okay, that's the altar, kind of burned. I don't know how old that is, but they dress it up with fabric and stuff when they have their mass, and they hang icons all over everything to make it beautiful. But so the Syrian Orthodox group gathers there, and that altar is ancient for sure. Now to the right, Gotti, to the right, you can see that little
Yeah,
tomb.
we like vintage.
Yeah, it's vintage, that's for sure. Go to the right, yeah. So I don't know, you can't see what you're looking at. It's come back further, you'll see.
Yeah.
So this is actually another tomb that's from the ancient time there, showing that people were buried.
It's very dark here. There's no light. There's no light.
Come away from it, you just see the hole for the tomb. So the Holy Sepulchre has like I said, the 5 different groups that have their time for when they can offer a mass. There's a 7:30 a.m. mass in the tomb for the Catholics. I've done that mass a few times now. Another interesting thing is that at night, when they lock the doors, which maybe we'll see shortly, they lock the doors and they let about 15 people stay inside. Now someone's doing a mass, looks like right there. This is in front. No, that's the Mary Magdalene altar. Okay, that priest is celebrating mass on the altar where the Mary Magdalene meets the Lord after the resurrection. So that's what this records, that spot. I've offered mass there a few times now with groups, just like these people are doing. Now further back against that wall is that's the doors to the Franciscan Chapel. It's kind of a modern chapel inside there. There's some confessionals there. This is the Catholic part of the world. They do have an organ, so they do play organ music on occasion. Otherwise, it's just chant without accompaniment with music. No, go to the tomb. Go to the front of the. Can you get in front of the tomb? Yeah, go back to the front of the tomb so you can just see that. Now the people are lined up on the
Not
right.
a lot. The line is very short here.
Yeah, all right. Maybe you can go in if you can.
Yeah. I'm gonna stand online. It's very short.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it for you. I'm doing it for you.
Oh boy. All right. So a lot of times, for sure, I've been on this line when it's an hour to get in there, but it's a small. The groups have not returned to Israel yet, the big groups. So people are starting to open up again, but like right now, we're supposed to be there now with a group, but Gotti went on his own. So what we see here is really from the Crusader period. So that whole dome and everything was done during the 1200s. There's not much that remains of the old of the first Constantinian church. So that went destroyed in 1009. So now we're about to go in. People will wait, in this line, like I said, for about an hour. Now over to across the way, you see those lanterns. This is the entrance to the Greek church, and they have a big church in there. So they have their Greek mass in there, and then also they have rights to have mass in the Holy Sepulchre. So there are different groups. Only those 5 groups can have a mass in the Holy Sepulchre. And the Catholics have 7:30. Some of the masses begin, I think, at 4 a.m. They'll have the Greeks will start off with their mass. I've been there to that. Then the Coptics come, and the Syrian Orthodox, and so it's a real mixture of people. And sometimes they're all praying at once, and then you can hear the music going in different parts of the Holy Sepulchre. And on Fridays and on Sundays, they do processions through the whole area. Each group has its own time set, and they will venerate all the sites. So you go to the Calvary, you go to the Anointing Stone, you go to the, of course, the tomb. So here is this is the front of the tomb. There's all kinds of candles and lights and stuff that are placed there. A lot of icons on the front. He's panning down. So when you enter, you have to go through a very low door. So it kind of has you bow going in, And the first area inside is called the Chapel of the Angels. So where the angels rolled back the stone. So there's a one chamber and then the actual tomb inside. Now what you'll see inside there is all covered over with all this marble and stonework that they put in relatively lately, the last couple of 100 years. But about 2 or 3 years ago, they did a big investigation. They cleaned all this. This had been really dark for centuries with all the candles burning. So they cleaned it all. So now it's all gleaming, clean stone. And when you go inside, we'll see. Yeah, this is great. We're able to go in. I thought they might even stop us from going in there with the camera, but I guess it's okay for the moment here. Wow, beautiful. Very nice. So I was able to be in there one of those overnight times. I did it twice. And to be able to go into the tomb and just sit by yourself, because there's only 15 people in the overnight experience that you can have there. So you can go in at your leisure and just sit and pray inside this spot. So I've been privileged to do the mass there 3 times now, I guess, inside the tomb. And now we're in the antechamber. This is the Chapel of the Angels. And then further ahead now you'll see another very low door, and that's the chamber where the body of Christ would have been laid on the natural stone. So what we'll see in there is the marble that covers the stone. Of course, they don't want people, taking souvenirs home, so they covered it with this marble, and then they install a table, some planks of wood to make an altar right above the spot where the body would have laid, right there. And so what masses are offered, and they decorate it with altar cloths and everything. So only about 5 people maybe can be inside for a mass, the priest, and then maybe 4 or 5 other people. It's very small, tight area. We've had a group that was inside the tomb when we offered the mass. The group was small, and we were able to have some people in this chamber, the antechamber, the Chapel of the Angels, and while the mass is going on. And we kind of exchanged our time. We went in and out of the place at the tomb itself to go in and participate a little bit with the mass there. I guess we lost our contact there. It was surprised it lasted that long. That was good. At least we could see.
Okay, we're back.
Oh, you're back. Okay. Oh, you didn't go into the tomb though, all the way in?
We did. You didn't see it?
No. That's when it cut out.
Oh,
Okay, it cut out, but maybe on the
yeah,
recording.
we lost our phone. Yeah, because it was for a while. It was on.
Yeah, so
But
maybe
then
on the
we lost
recording.
the connection. Yeah.
Yeah,
hopefully.
maybe it recorded it. I don't know.
I thought somebody did see it.
Yeah, okay. No, we didn't see it, but okay, so that's okay. We'll maybe look on the video. Okay, so
Yeah.
now we came out of the tomb, and let's see where we are. I'm trying to see my bearings here. Okay, you're going.
Want to
around.
pinpoint our video?
Yeah. So the whole place is a big circle. So for the processions, and they can. Oh, okay. Now I see you're at the spot there. Okay, go back around the other way. If you that plate had a mass there. All right, so go this way. Go past the anointing stone and down that hall to the left, straight ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a group that blocks from being able to go around the circle where they were having their mass. So we're going to go around the other way. So there is a big circle that is built, the church is built kind of as a circle. So this ambulatory way, you can walk around. There's a lot of side altars that we can take a look at. And then there's the staircase going down to Saint Helena's chapel. And this is the tradition is that the true cross was found in this area, big low area. this was a quarry. And so they quarried out all that stone. And it's about maybe 100 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet deep below the ground where we are. This is pretty much ground level. And then there's this other area that goes way down deep into the lower area. So I think we're stuck again. So there's the anointing stone again before you, and then on the right would be the exit to go out the door. And I'm hoping you can proceed maybe into the St. Helen area. So it's 5:45 Jerusalem time. I think they're going to start banging a little bit. They bang on the stone with these sticks, and it's kind of a way to say, okay, time is up.
Tell us the story about the family and about closing the church.
Yeah, okay. Well, it is an interesting, yeah, Gotti alluded to it before, but because of all the problems and the Muslims had control of the city until 1917, the end of World War I, the Ottoman Empire lost its power over the Holy Land, and England took charge of Palestine. So, but before this, even going back hundreds of years, because the Muslims had legal charge of the place, the Christians were not being nice to each other, and within the chaos of everything, sometimes they would, the Sultan decided that there would be a Muslim family who would hold the keys to the Holy Sepulchre. So for 400 years, that's been their job, the family job, and it's been passed on from generation to generation, at least 400, maybe 500 years. And they, so there's a little ceremony. I don't know if we'll see it. Maybe it'll be happening at 6. They bang on the door with the sticks or the poles, and kind of say, okay, we're getting ready to close up. And then they will lock the monks and the visitors inside the church. And they have the key. They pass it through the door. There's a little door up high that they pass the key through, and then they're locked in. So you're not getting out. Of course, if there's an emergency, I guess they could go in, but normally it's closed from 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock in summer. I think it's set 8 or 9. And then it doesn't open until 4 a.m., I think, is when the first mass is for the Greeks. So then the Muslim family will come back and open the door, and
so you can accidentally get locked in there and you can't get out?
Well,
If you don't.
They do let 15 people or so stay overnight. So the Franciscans, if you get on the list that day, you can't email them and say, I want to reserve for the 12th, If you happen to be there that day and there's names on the list, openings on the list, they'll put your name down. So you get the okay to stay overnight. So, but otherwise they bang and they say, okay, we're closing up. So if you do want to leave, you have to leave then, because they are going to close the door and there's no other way out. There is a bathroom that's in they finally installed bathrooms. First time I was there, they still had not put bathrooms in.
When is the next trip to the Holy Land, Father?
Oh, that's a good idea. Well, what we're probably going to do in the fall, I'm going to do a Catholic trip that will include a few of the spots we don't get to with Project Genesis. So I'm going to try to do one in September, and Gotti is going to do a Jewish trip in September, October, or maybe November, and then we're going to do Project Genesis in February. So next February or March. We're not sure the dates yet. We're still trying to look at some different people as to when we can go. So the Catholic one, we will include probably certainly the Transfiguration. We're hearing that this weekend.
Yes, we're now gonna wait on the club.
Okay, so now you're going to hear, that sounds like the Muslims called the prayer is happening. Are they getting ready to close the doors? All right, he's back on the front courtyard, and wow, there's just a few people left. That's interesting. So now they'll do this little ceremony where they close the doors. Well, it certainly is nice to be able to see this again, even though I can't get there just yet. Also, I'm hoping maybe to invite maybe 10 people to come to June, in June, and just spend a week in Jerusalem itself. If you're interested, get in touch with me, because we would stay in the Austrian hospice right in the old city. And I'd like to spend a couple of days just in Jerusalem, and then maybe take one day trip to the north, to Galilee. But so we'll have to see how that might work out. I might be able to plan it myself and lead a small group to go over. Because I'm going to be going to Medjugorje and also to Germany. I'm going to the Abaramagau Passion Play in Germany. And we still have apparently a few seats open for that too, if you're interested. I'd love to, have you come to Germany. So from Germany, I'm going to go to Medjugorje, hopefully for a week, a 10-day trip there, and then off to Jerusalem for a week. So this is all happening in June. So the end of May into June. So I think June 3rd is Medjugorje. So then about the 11th or 12th would be the time in Jerusalem.
Call for prayers, but so it's almost 6 o'clock here. I don't see any crowd though.
Yeah, no, it's really very empty. It's amazing. At least you were able to get into the tomb and all. That was great. And hopefully get to you were recording while you were in there. Hopefully that's part of the story here. We'll see. But okay, so this is really the end. They will have a little bit of a ceremony. Usually, like I said, a crowd is there watching it, but the doors will be shut for the night. Did they bang the sticks to kind of tell people they're closing down?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe because it's Sunday. Do they close later on Sunday?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because it doesn't look like they're.
Yeah, they're having people go out, but go on back in and see what.
To close.
See what they're doing. Yeah, usually they would start it by now. So maybe it's staying open later because it's Sunday or because it's they're getting on the new schedule. There's a
They
Franciscan.
close at 6. They close at 6. They're going to have the ceremony 7:30 on Sundays.
Yes,
Because
one
it's a
guy
Sunday?
told me this.
Yeah. So did you hear that? They close
Yeah,
at 7:30 today.
Oh wow, okay. All right,
Yeah.
that's
So it's all right. A good place to stop and to look at the beautiful Jerusalem sky.
it's starting to get dark there now, of course. So 6 o'clock. So sunsets and
Moon over Jerusalem. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. This was a first attempt in making this live, and I'm glad Joel was here. Joel in Hebrew means that he's a redeemer.
Lord is God.
The Lord is God. This is so he was here to save the day with his reception here. So thank God. And thank you everybody
Rabbi,
for being with us.